So this week I'm wanting to talk a little bit about our papers. The Chapter 14 lecture I'm hoping to get done next week, as long as I don't find too many YouTube videos on there that can explain statistical methods much better than I can. So there's a chance that I might put those videos on there and not have a lecture for next week, but chances are I will do a lecture for next week. This week, though, I do want to talk about your papers, and first off, making sure that you take a professional tone in the papers. Not using slang, sticking to third-person language. So that means not using words such as I, we, they, but sticking in words such as individuals who commit crimes, people who are in the criminal justice system, trying to keep your opinion out of things, making sure you're using citations. In professional writing, you oftentimes notice that there's often multiple citations in a given paragraph. And, I'm not necessarily asking you guys to do that, but making sure that you're citing facts, and when you cite something, making sure that citation also has a reference on the reference page. We're only asking for 5 citations. You could use your book for one of them. You can use citations for the different research methods you're doing. You can use citations for, especially need to use citations for the literature review, so where you're getting information for that. And giving a proper citation. I really tend to prefer the American Psychological Association writing style. You can find more information on that if you head to the Writing Center or the library. I'm sure they have an APA publication manual. But making sure that you're trying to... another good resource for that is Purdue OWL, and you can find that online, and you can find probably many sources online for more information on how to do APA writing style. But the big things that I'm looking for is staying in that third-person language, so not using slang language, not using I and we types of language, you, and citing correctly within the paper. And, I'm not looking for 100% on exactly how they do it, but when you're stating a fact, give a citation, and it'd be nice to see that in the reference page. And if you don't do the reference page and the citation perfect, that's going to be fine. But just to give you a quick example of how you might cite something is, so crime is on the rise due to drug use. And this is by Jones, in parentheses at the end of the sentence, Jones, comma, 2015, parentheses, and then the punctuation at the end. And then you'll find this on the reference page. You shouldn't find things on the reference page that you don't see in your text. And another way of doing the same thing is saying Jones, so you put Jones right in the sentence. Jones states that crime is on the rise, and then you give in parentheses at the end of the sentence 2015, and you put the punctuation at the end. Another way of doing that is putting Jones and then putting the parentheses right there in the sentence and writing out the rest of the sentence. So that's just some quick FYI on how to do APA writing style. For those of you going on to grad school, APA writing style is most likely, especially if you're going to be in the realm of human services, which criminal justice and criminology is, you're really going to want to write well and cite well and learn APA. Those of you that might be going into law, writing is essential. Good writing style is essential for individuals trying to gain admittance to law school, graduate schools. Oftentimes writing, you need to have examples of your writing. A lot of times people use their undergraduate writing papers. This could be a paper that you would use to maybe gain admittance to a graduate program. But within criminal justice as a whole, being objective and a good writing style is an essential skill that a lot of students oftentimes struggle with. So really try hard to do well with this. Okay, so I just want to talk a little bit more about the different sections within the research proposal. And remember, you're not actually doing the research proposal, so you're just writing the research proposal, and you're not out there doing any of your own research. So the different areas here, the cover page. The cover page within academic writing, cover pages, you can look at journals, and they're a good example, but they're pretty boring looking. They're not flashy. When you're doing something academic, you don't need to be flashy. You need to be smart, and you need to be clear, and you need to be concise. You don't have to. And smart writing is a lot of times not writing where you're using these big fancy words to show people how smart you are. You're using the proper terms that the average person reading this proposal is going to understand. So your cover page is going to have your name, the title of your research proposal, and the Bemidji State University. Your abstract, and starting with your abstract, you want to start adding page numbers, and a lot of times right next to the page number you can give a little brief description of your title. So for example, if you're studying drug courts, you might just put drug courts up there. If you're studying the quality of life within prison, you might put prison life or something. Just a short abbreviation up there by your page number, and it's usually on the top right. So your abstract is its own page, and it's basically a summarization of all the other things without the references. It's just giving a really brief summary of why you're studying it, what you're studying, who you're studying, and what the results are, basically. So it's a summarization of your whole paper right up front. And actually, you're not going to have results yet, because we're not going out there and studying, but if you were doing an actual study and you're doing an abstract, it would give you the results. So those of you that are researching for other papers and things, and in the future, reading abstracts for the different publications that you're looking at, that oftentimes, a lot of times, don't tell your teachers I said this, but a lot of times you can write whole papers based just on the information found in abstracts. Don't do that here. So that's the abstract. So then you have the problem, or the introduction to the problem, or the objective, just kind of giving a brief background of the issue that you're studying and why you're studying it. Then the literature review. It's a lot of times people would like to see a robust literature review where it has, it takes a 360-degree view of the problem. For the sake of time, you don't need to do that here. Just pick out the most important data that is found in literature and use it here. And if you'd write a page and a half, 2 pages, that would probably be just fine for the sake of this. Making sure you're using citations, though, for this section is extremely important. So any literature that you're reviewing and putting in your lit review, you're going to want to cite, and then you're going to want to have that end up in the reference page down here. So before I forget, also I want to tell you the cover page and the abstract don't count towards your page total. Neither does your reference page. Everything else in here will have a page number next to it, and it's just kind of a guideline on how many pages you want to write next to that thing, or next to those sections, and these are the section headers. So once you get your literature review done, oftentimes it's just called a lit review, we're going to want to ask our research question. So again, providing a little bit of background on the problem, not much because you already did that, and what is the actual question that you're trying to answer through this research. And your literature review is going to tell you, inform that question. It's going to tell you, why this study is important, and you're going to summarize that here and ask the question, and that's going to be less than a page, probably just a paragraph, as is the objective or problem statement. And then we're going to look at our subjects for studying. So are we doing a sampling, a random sampling, stratified sampling? What are we doing to gain participants? Are we paying people, that type of thing? Are we doing a comprehensive study where we're studying everybody who experiences a phenomenon? So if we're doing a treatment program that is new, it might be feasible to study all 10 people that are going through that program. Then we have our measurement. So how are we going to measure? What measurement tools are we going to use? Are we going to use a survey? Are we going to use a clinical design or I call them clinical designs, but a experimental design? Depending, are we going to use a qualitative study? That type of stuff. So then, that's about a page. The subjects you're studying, we're going to have, it's about a page, a little bit less maybe. And then your data collection method. So how are we going to actually go out there and collect that data? Are we going to hire people to do it? Are we going to do it ourselves? Are we going to have people sit in a room and take a survey? Are we going to go to the mall and catch people walking by? And how exactly, what are the procedures? A lot of the stuff when we get into measurement and data collection, you want to describe the procedures exactly. So that's going to be about a page. And then your analysis, are you using a qualitative or quantitative analysis? And what specific statistical method are you using if you're going to be using a statistical method? What specific coding method you're going to use if you're going to be using a qualitative type of method. I know I have about 6 pages here, and it's a 4 to 5 page paper, so it's up to you if you want to take that chance and cut back, but it's going to be pretty hard to write under 6 pages, but again, you certainly can do that and just do a really good job of hitting these different areas, and it'll probably be just fine. And then at the end you have your reference page. You can, you're best off doing it according to APA. Again, if it's not perfect, it's fine. Just try to get it somewhat close to an academic professional type of reference page. So if you have any questions on the paper, please let me know. I can't wait to start seeing some of these. I know some of you have already submitted in our Dropbox, where when you have it done, you're going to need to go to our online course room and submit it under the Dropbox tab. If you have any trouble, let me know. Don't wait to say something. And best of luck. I'm sure you're going to find that it's much easier. This course I know has been hard, and it's probably one of the hardest courses you'll take in this major, but I assure you that now that you're going to be writing this paper, you're going to really understand research. So now you didn't know a whole lot about research before, so throughout this course you've learned a little bit about research, and now you're actually going to be using it. So you're much better off to be able to do your own research from now on, and to be able to read research and be critical. Being critical of research is very important. People throw around words like evidence-based practice, best practice, that type of stuff. And are they just saying that, or can you push it a little bit and ask them, who says it's an evidence-based practice? That type of thing. So best wishes, good luck. I'll see you next week.